The Junction editor is activated by double-clicking on a node. A new window will open in vZoom and the network's object on the left will change. Since the Junction editor is a window, it can be viewed side by side with the network or listings, for example. This can be useful when working with numerous nodes, as switching between the network map and the Junction editor is not necessary. The window can be automatically fit with other windows using the Arrange Window feature or by manually resizing the windows. The new Networks Object menu on the left now contains 5 elements. Within the window, there is a new toolbar below the main vZoom toolbar with tools specific to Junction editing. The window will show a preview of the node based on which network object type is selected. Below the window is the list view of the selected object or objects. The node and the elements that are associated to each node are all shown in the Junction editor, regardless of whether or not they are close to transport systems or if a filter is being applied in the network. The Network's Object menu switches the view of the junction shown in the preview area and list view. Each network object type will contain varying view settings that are shown. The list view enables the editing of attributes associated with a variety of network objects depending on the selected view. The list view enables the copying and pasting, where applicable, of cell values to easily transfer between. The node element will show the basic configurations of the node, such as the overall node capacity, control type, node type, and method for impedance at node. The links element shows the in-links and out-links associated with the node. Attributes from each link are presented in the list view and are editable when applicable. The turns element shows all of the turns that traverse the node. The attributes from each turn are presented in the list view and are editable when applicable. The geometry element contains several different possible viewing configurations. Within the viewing area, radio buttons appear that enable switching between different geometric views. The geometric editor is interactive in that it will switch between different geometric views depending on what geometric radio button is currently selected. The signal timing element presents a visual display of the signal timing plan if there is one set up, or will display a gray area if no timing plan has been defined. The Junction editor is displayed with a toolbar with tools specific to the junction. It is displayed at the top of the Junction editor window. An overview of each of the buttons from left to right will be given. The first 2 buttons indicate whether synchronization with the network editor is activated. If it is activated, the actively selected node in the network editor and the Junction editor will both refer to the same node even in the event of the selected node being changed. By default, synchronization is activated. Synchronization can be deactivated by selecting the button on the left. The third tab from the left is the Attribute Selector. The Attribute Selector is very similar to the Listing Attribute Selector. The dialog that comes up shows which attributes are currently selected and which attributes are to be chosen from. The next 6 buttons are for tools related to intersection capacity analysis. To enable these tools, the node must be set to use an ICA method for node impedance calculation. The first button will recalculate the level of service. The second button outputs a Microsoft Excel table with the ICA calculations that will update in real time depending on the current junction configuration. The third button activates automatic updating of these calculations in vZoom and in an open Excel spreadsheet. The fourth button will output the ICA calculation into an XML format. The fifth button tests the junction for compatibility with ICA calculation standards and will produce an alert if any inconsistencies are found. The final ICA button will calculate the optimal signal timing plan and new intersection performance measures based upon the setting of which optimization method, cycle time or green time, is set at the node. The next button is for the VSIM preview. It will show the present node as it would appear after an A&M transfer to VSIM. The VSIM preview will automatically update based on changes made in vSOOM while it is open. The rest of the buttons, with the exception of the last button, aid in modifying the signal configuration. The first three of the signal buttons are to create, edit, or delete a signal controller. The following two buttons create a stage and remove a stage, and the last two buttons will create or delete a signal group. More about signal coding will be discussed in a later section. The last button is to modify a time-varying attribute. In order to use this, the time-varying attributes need to be defined and selected in the listing below. As mentioned before, the Junction editor has a number of views possible for editing the junction. The first option is to view the junction at the node level. Using the node view, the preview area shows a stick figure layout of the node and the direction of the major flow. The major flow can be changed manually if desired by checking the box Major Flow Manually, and then clicking the origin and destination nodes that appear as pink buttons. The list view below has the capability of listing any node attribute as selected from the attribute selector. In each Junction editor view, there will be teal buttons that appear at the edge of the preview area radiating from the center of the junction. These buttons, when pressed, will focus the Junction editor on the next connected node based on the link that connects those nodes. The lines represent the legs of the intersection. Each leg will have the leg number shown either beside or at the end of the leg. Each leg consists of the two links that connect between the node in the Junction editor and the other node that the links connect to. The link view contains information about the links that go to and from the node. In the preview area, each link is selectable by the tan button beside the link corresponding to the direction of flow. One-way streets will have an arrow pointing in the direction of flow. When a link is selected, the column containing information about the link will be highlighted in the list view. Multiple links can be selected at the same time. The preview area will also show the link orientations at the edge of the links. These can be manually adjusted by unchecking the box Auto Link Orientation in the top left of the preview area. If any changes to the orientation have been made, the button Apply Link Orientations will need to be pressed in order to save the new orientations. The turn element contains information on the turns that traverse the node. The preview area looks similar to the links. Clicking on the tan buttons will show the turns that either originate or terminate on the link, depending if the link is going to or from the node. When a link going to the node is selected, light blue buttons will appear upstream of the tan button. These light blue buttons represent the turns from that link via the node to other links. If a turn is closed to all T-Systems modes, it will appear as a dashed line in the preview area. When pressing one of the turn buttons, the turn will be visually highlighted in the preview area and the column of the turn highlighted in the list view area. Multiple turns can be selected at once from the same or multiple links.